Good evening, everyone. Welcome to ZURB. Welcome to the Foundation Meetup. I want to thank you all so much for coming out. Let's give everyone a round of applause. You guys.
All right.
You guys could have all just been home eating like a bowl of cereal or something. I don't know what people do, but you guys chose to come out here, and you guys chose to come out here and learn something new. So it's very commendable. And we've got a big treat for you tonight. A little bit about ZURB, for anyone who may have just stumbled onto this building by accident or was dragged here by a friend. We're a product design company. We've been one since 1998. And through consulting and training and various product tools we've designed, we've helped hundreds of other companies deliver kick-ass products. And, there's a reason I bring this up, and it's because tonight you're going to be learning from two of our finest. Mr.
Of course.
Mr. Rafi here. He is Rafi's our foundation advocate. He came in and pretty much in the beginning just almost taught himself how to code. Just got up and running, learned everything on his own, and now he's one of the main guys for Foundation. You may have seen him on a forum or something like that. So, yeah.
GQ magazine.
GQ magazine. 2012 sexiest man alive. Look at him. Look at that man.
All right.
Tonight Rafi is going to be covering the ZURB Stack, and that's the development stack that we all use to deliver on our client products, and it's going to make you guys awesome, just like it makes us awesome. And and then later on, Mr. K-Ball, I don't know where he is, but he is our there he is. Mr. K-Ball is our engineer lead, and he's going to be doing a deep dive into Panini, which is a flat file generator, and it's one of the things that makes the ZURB tag stick. Oh wait, the ZURB stack tick. There we go.
Yep.
So without any further ado, Rafi, take it away.
Rock on. Thank you. Thanks, guys. Yeah, so really excited to do another meetup here, and I love seeing a lot of new faces and people that we already know, so thank you all for coming out. We're going to talk about the ZURB Stack today. So it's a modern front-end workflow, and what that really means is it's a bunch of stuff that is just going to make you produce better work, more fast, more awesome in a shorter amount of time. So it's the really important thing is that I am assuming that all of you are out here because you're learning some new skills, or you're always trying to improve yourself and do better. And if you want to work faster, smarter, and not as hard, then some of these things will really help you out. So you want people to notice and recognize what an awesome top performer that you are, and how much time and money you're saving your company. This is really... Yeah, so if you want to look like this guy, it's all about being more productive, more efficient. So before there was the ZURB Stack or any modern front-end tooling, life was pretty hard, and happiness was really difficult to attain. So let's take a look back real quick. 10 to 15 years ago, when the World Wide Web was pretty new, there was... big differences in web development. We didn't have any front-end frameworks. We didn't have a lot of front-end tooling. There was no such thing as open source, or if it was, nobody really knew about it. JavaScript was rarely used. So it was quite a different picture, and websites were pretty much just documents that browsers read. So today, it's really different. There's been a lot of changes to HTML and CSS, and now there's Sass and preprocessors and JavaScript transpilers. So web development got more complicated, so you can do a lot more cool stuff. And web applications are coming out all the time. They're a lot more immersive. There's a lot more interactions and technology involved to make them work quickly and efficiently. And pretty much the entire web can be seen that it's on open source. So that's another big development. So also updates like Sass for style sheets and the way that we're using JavaScript has really come along a long way. So that means the possibilities are endless, and there's a lot of things that a modern front-end workflow can do for you now, and in the future can even do for you even better. So we're excited for that future when you can just punch a bunch of buttons and something just comes out, like a meal automatically. That would be really awesome. So ZURB Stack is about meeting deadlines. It's about producing a lot of work in a short amount of time. Another way that I like to put it is doing more with less. So being productive, it means that you have a workflow that works for your company. And it's not just our workflow and you guys have to figure out how to use it. What we've created here is a workflow that you could take into any company that you work for, any organization, your own projects, and it'll work seamlessly. You can extend upon it to make it your own. And so when you do that and you take a powerful workflow that you didn't have before, that your organization didn't have before, and you bring it into your company, you're going to look like a hero. So the question is, how do we get there? You don't have to reinvent the wheel. You don't have to create a new project every time you don't have to create a new workflow every time you create a new project. You have one customizable, one and done workflow that can be used in any type of project. And it's a system that saves you time and money. So our friend Bad Frost over here said development is design. But what he was referring to is that more and more in the modern web development world, we need to work better as designers, front-end developers, and engineers. So we have these different roles. These people might do different things. Some of them might cross over with each other. But we need to work better together. And having a solid workflow is actually something that helps us be more productive together. So we're tearing down walls. What that means is that developers, front-end engineers, front-end developers, engineers, all these different terminologies, these people can work better together because now they have a shared language to develop code, to share code with each other, to basically deliver their projects. And if you have this shared language, you're actually going to be able to work and collaborate better together. There's going to be a little bit of respect, too, when you bring in this workflow as a designer, let's say, and then you hand off your code to your engineers, and now everything's organized nicely, so they're going to respect you. So we are primarily a Rails shop here at ZURB, and while we use Ruby on Rails to develop our notable collaboration tool and some of our other properties, it's pretty robust, and it's a lot more than we need for delivering most of the websites that we create. So even internally, like the foundation marketing site is a static site built on the ZURB Stack. It would be really overkill to make it a Rails app. So one thing you should know about ZURB is that we are a consultancy, and when we deliver our code to a client, we're delivering 5 coded pages and a style guide. And so these are pages that now the company can go and take into their process, extend upon them, or take the templates that we've created and build out the rest of their site. So we need to deliver code that is easy to use. The structure needs to be easy to understand. The code needs to be modular and easy to be put into any system that the company uses. And so the ZURB Stack is not delivered in a way that is particular to a type of workflow or like a back-end system. It can work with anything. So it's nice that an engineer can take our flat files that we deliver them. They could take our partials, build out layouts, and put it into their specific stack. So they don't have to use this workflow, but this workflow fits into whatever final project looks like. And we know that a company's stack is very personal to them. So for that reason, it could be used that way as well. So we wanted a build system that will help us streamline our code and work faster and deliver code faster. And interesting story is that before we launched Foundation 6, which came with the ZURB Stack, we actually used the ZURB Stack before it was publicly launched to build the Foundation marketing site. And we did that in about 4 days between 2 people. And I don't think that was even possible without a build system like this. And you'll see the power of that also when K-Ball comes up next. So we're going to get into the meat of it. What is the ZURB Stack all about? What goes into it? So here's where we really look into the pieces. So the whole thing is built on Gulp. And Gulp calls their system a streaming build system. Well, I don't know who the hell knows what that means, but we know that it means automating your tasks easily. And again, it's doing more with less, and not less CSS. So, and the reason we chose Gulp also is because we were using Grunt with Foundation 5 if you wanted like a more advanced build of Sass. And Grunt is great. At the time, we wanted to use Gulp because it's written like JavaScript. It's a little bit easier for most people to understand the tasks that are happening. It's a series of tubes, which means that all these pipes sync up nicely together and hand off the tasks as they complete them. So that was nice for us. And at the time, it also had all the plugins that we needed to make this work. So the whole thing is also built on Node. So if you don't know what Node is, it's an open source server-side JavaScript language, but you can use it for front end as well. And the big thing to take away from this is that Node is heavily used by the biggest companies that you all know. Walmart, eBay, PayPal, Netflix, Uber, GitHub, Medium. So all these companies are built on Node. So we're going to kick off the development mode. So once you have the ZURB Stack cloned onto your machine, you just run npm start. So you just run that in your terminal in that project, and it's going to kick off all these tasks. So first thing we got is compiling Sass. So we all know what this is. We've been using Sass here at ZURB since 2012. It's an amazing preprocessor, and it's really like sped up our workflow 10x. So definitely have that in there. This is really cool. So we got browser sync, and I really hate moving my mouse and hitting refresh on the browser. I'm just really lazy. So browser sync takes care of that. You might know it as live reload, but browser sync actually does a lot more than that. This is really cool because browser sync also will run a local server for us. So we don't have to use tools like Apache or Anvil or other things like that to actually view our website in the browser locally. This server is created for us automatically. It actually will pop open a window for you once the project loads, which only takes a few seconds, and then you're ready to go. Every time you hit save, it'll refresh the browser for you automatically, and you'll see your changes. And also a nice thing to know about this too is, I don't know if you've ever seen this error in your console or in your terminal. It says address in use. So if you actually have 2 projects with the same like localhost 3000 address, you'll get an error. Well, browser sync takes care of that for you, so you can actually run both at the same time. Okay, it's also got Panini. Now, this is something that K-Ball is really going to dive into, so I won't spend too much time on here. But you might or you will want to split your website into layouts and partials. So if you've seen handlebars before, this is our handlebar templating engine. It's really powerful. It actually has a lot of cool features like variables and helpers, and which K-Ball will talk about later. But really what this is for is getting rid of repetition, reducing mistakes, being able to reuse HTML in different places, and also gives you a nice, clean looking layout here. So it's really important for that. We actually built Panini ourselves because there's actually static site generators all over the web. But what happened was in Foundation 6, again, we discussed earlier that we wanted to use Gulp. And we were using Assemble internally when we had Foundation 5 out. And we ended up, we contacted Assemble. They couldn't figure out getting a Gulp version out in time, so we just built it ourselves. So we built a Gulp version, almost of Assemble. It's almost a static site generator, not quite, but pretty close. And so the reason we called it Panini was that as a panini is, it's a flattened sandwich. So this will flatten your HTML pages at the end, so everything is in one file. So again, we built Panini out of necessity, and that's really what we do here at ZURB. So you all know that browsers don't always agree on how they render CSS properties. And our dunce over there, Safari, sad. So I don't want to have to remember all these vendor prefixes. That's annoying. I mean, there's 4 of them for each property. I don't want to do that. So this is really nice that AutoPrefix is in there. It's been around for a while. It's very robust. It works really well. So what AutoPrefixer does is it's going to go in and add your vendor prefixes automatically. It knows which properties need vendor prefixes. And actually, I'll show you in a little bit how you can configure which browsers it's adding those for you. So you don't have to worry about these anymore. Don't need to manually add all these vendor prefixes. And I mean, I'm sure you've all deployed a site before and then jumped over to Safari and see that your cool animation doesn't work over there. So it might even look really broken. Cool, so we also have Sass source maps. So if you have heard of this, if not, so there's a thing with Sass that it's nice. You could do a lot of cool stuff, nesting, variables, mix-ins, but you don't always know what your compiled CSS is going to look like. And when you're inspecting in the browser, there's a lot of times where you're going to find a property that is causing an issue, but it's going to say, oh, well, it's coming from your app.css, which is just like your dumping file of all your CSS. Well, that doesn't tell you where the problem lies. So Sass source maps built into the ZURB stack. It's already enabled. So basically, debugging in the browser is a lot easier. So I have my album class right there, and I can see that it's coming from _album.scss. So this is huge. You definitely will get value out of that. There's also a stylish style guide generator. So we really believe in style guides here. We believe that communicating consistent visuals, consistent messaging to your client, to your customers is really important. We deliver one of these with every client project. So this makes it easy for you to deliver a style guide or to create a style guide for your company. Now, if you do this, you're really going to help your company out big time. You're going to help yourself reduce headaches of people creating components that are similar to other ones, but then they're conflicting styles or they look slightly different. The code doesn't follow your standards. It's all in a style guide. You can really streamline all of that. So style guide generator is built in a stack. I'll show you that in a little bit, that you will actually be able to use Markdown right inside this project to create this, so it's a lot faster to code. And then it also uses Panini for some of the templating on that. So that's just the development stuff. So we also have a production mode. So if we want to run the production mode, it's npm run build. Now, when you're in development, the system is watching for changes all the time and refreshing your screen. In production mode, this is a one and done command. You run it, and it runs through all these different processes and gets your website packaged up and ready to go. So it's going to minify CSS. It's going to minify your JavaScript. It's going to remove all the white space there and make your file size smaller. Of course, it transpiles ES6 to ES5. This means that you can use the latest JavaScript, and it'll concatenate the JavaScript. This is huge also. If you've ever heard of UnCSS, UnCSS could dramatically reduce your file size. It's pretty crazy how much it can reduce your file size. So it's going to look in your HTML, and it's going to see what classes you are using. Any that you're not using that actually exist in your CSS file, it will remove them. So that could take your 60K CSS file down to 8K or something like that. So it's a huge, huge weight savings. We've proven how well it works. And there is a configuration file in case there's some things that you don't want it to remove, and I'll show you that. So another thing is it's compressing your images for you. We all know that images are pretty much the biggest reason that websites load slowly, because just one image could be bigger than all your CSS. So this will compress your images for you. It does JPEGs, GIFs, SVGs, PNGs. I don't want to start any war about GIFs or GIFs. Yeah, I knew it. I knew that there would be like a split here. All right, and then it packages it all up into one folder. This is basically your website, just right there in one folder ready to deploy. So you got all your image assets copied over, all your pages passed over. So I'm going to show you around real quick, and then we'll hand it off to K-Ball. So I am going to jump over the code. All right. So when I create a brand new project, or if I clone the ZURB template, I could also use the CLI. So if I was to, if you have the foundation CLI, that really helps. So you can do foundation, new, and I just want you guys to see the really cute Yeti, because that's what we're going after here. So I can name my project, and then it's going to ask me if I want the ZURB template. Now it's called the ZURB template here. Let's not get confused with an actual website template. This is basically a build system. This is the ZURB Stack. And then it kicks off and builds that for you. So we're not going to watch that work, but I created this one earlier today, and this is what it looks like. So we have Bower components, we have our dist folder, we have node modules, and our source folder. So we only want to work in the source folder. The source folder is where you edit all your files. The dist folder is where your final assets are compiled, and this is what you're going to load up to your server and send off. Bower components, these are all the framework files. We're using a Bower package manager to manage some of those. And then node modules, these are all the other dependencies that are built in. This compiles Sass and all this other stuff. You don't need to mess with those things. But if you do update your website with the Foundation CLI, which is Foundation Update or npm update, then it'll actually go through those folders for you and update to the latest version. So out of the box, you get an image folder where you could put all your images in there, JavaScript. So this app.js is where we're initializing Foundation, and then any of your custom JavaScript goes in here. And then it already comes with this folder structure here, your SCSS. It comes with a components folder, which is a best practice that we use here at ZURB. We try to write component CSS instead of just general page CSS or general website CSS. If you write components and you really are careful to make them reusable components, that way they're extendable across different places on your website. We use modifier classes in case there needs to be a slight change if you use it somewhere else. So you have all your files. Now, I specifically named all of these files with the type of file that it is first. So this is just another best practice. if you name it, so these are ads. So if I name them add first and then the type of add, that way they're all alphabetically ordered together. And then again with forms, all my form styles are grouped together because they're named form and then the type of form that they are. And then again, navigation. So doing it this way really helps. We also created a Mixins folder. Now this is not something that comes standard with it because you might not always have extra Mixins. Foundation comes with the Motion UI library, so if you're doing animations, it's already built in. But if you do add custom Mixins, they're there. And then you have your app.scss file. This is where I can comment some things out if I don't use them, and it'll actually reduce the CSS file size even further. On top of that, this is where we're importing all our mixins. Mixins go on top because in case the mixin is used in one of your components, it will be compiled first and you can actually use it. And then your imports below are for the components. And again, that's all nicely organized there. So this is a best practice that we use here at ZURB, and that's how we set this up. So there's a lot more in here. K-Ball is going to go into that. I'll show you the style guide just real quick. If you're familiar with Markdown, you can create headers with this syntax. You don't need to put paragraph tags around here. If you wrap something in HTML_example, not only will it print the code, but it'll also print the example of the code, or the actual rendered buttons in this case, or is it the grid. So that's pretty awesome. So if you're delivering a style guide, that's going to really make that a lot faster. All right, so that is the ZURB Stack. And I'm going to hand it over to K-Ball for some demonstrations. K-Ball is our engineer lead here at ZURB. He's got tons of experience over many different startups. He's a Rails expert, also a JavaScript expert, and he can usually fix the mistakes I make in about 30 seconds. So give it up for K-Ball. He's taking over.